just getting this in. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights telling the United Nations Security Council in a closed-door briefing that now more than 5,000 people, mostly peaceful protesters, have been killed by Syrian authorities over these past several months. The death toll now above 5,000, according to the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. In Syria's Homs province, the sound of what's said to be random shelling by Syrian security forces continuing. Opposition forces say Damascus has warned people to stop anti-government protests, turn in weapons, surrender military defectors, or face more brutal attack. The deadline is unclear, but a cloud of fear certainly hangs over the province. Let's discuss what's going on in Syria, Iraq, and elsewhere. Joining us is Professor Fouad Ajami. He's a senior fellow with the Hoover Institution, an expert on the Middle East. I don't know what you think, Fouad, but how much longer can Bashar al-Assad stay in power given what's going on?
Well, honestly, Wolf, I don't think there's a really clear answer to this. Bashar seems to defy the laws of gravity. Every statesman who speaks about Syria prophesies the imminent end and the imminent demise of the Bashar al-Assad regime, but he grinds on. And in fact, just as his father won, if you will, this terrible war in the late 70s and early 80s, in Hama, Bashar intends to win it in Homs. And as you said in your lead, we are now talking well beyond 5,000 casualties. We are talking about 1,500 people who have perished in Homs alone, which has emerged as the epicenter of this revolution, mostly because it has a mixed population of Christians, Alawis, and Sunnis.
I know a lot of American officials and outside experts are deeply disappointed that Nouri al-Maliki, the Prime Minister of Iraq, so far has refused to go along with almost every other member of the Arab League, with the exception perhaps of Lebanon, in condemning Bashar al-Assad, imposing sanctions on the Syrian regime. Listen to how President Obama, though, defended that decision today. I was pretty surprised to hear the president say this.
Even if there are tactical disagreements between Iraq and the United States at this point in how to deal with Syria, I have absolutely no doubt that these decisions are being made based on what Prime Minister Maliki believes is best for Iraq, not based on considerations of what Iran would like to see.
Now, we know that Iran has a lot at stake in Syria, but give me your thought when you heard the president say that.
Wolf, I don't think this was one of the president's finest moments, because in fact, it's not just even about Iran and Iran's desires in Syria. I mean, you yourself wrote an excellent blog on Iraq, and I could take one point from it. It's really the matter of Syria for the Maliki government and for Nouri al-Maliki personally. Nouri al-Maliki is being sectarian. He does not want to see the triumph of the Sunnis, the Sunni majority in Syria, and the fall of the Alawi regime. He is completely thinking in sectarian terms, and these are not tactical differences. In fact, the Iraqis have thrown their lot with the Syrians, and I think the Maliki government has made an unfortunate choice.
You know, I don't know if you saw our report at the top of this hour on this Hezbollah terrorist who was arrested by U.S. authorities in Iraq in 2007 for murdering 5 American soldiers. He's been held by U.S. military personnel in Iraq over all of these years, but potentially in the coming days he's going to be handed over to the Iraqis, and then the Iraqis might just let him go back to Iran, to Hezbollah. I mean, what does this say about what's going on right now?
Well, I think it tells us that Iraq has become in some way a big American disappointment. And again, I return to this blog that you wrote. This Ali Musa Daqdouk, this Hezbollah member, we should take him with us. He is an American prisoner. He killed American soldiers. And if we think that somehow or another that we hand him over to the Iraqis and they shall keep him, I think we will be disappointed.
Let me get your quick thought on Newt Gingrich, what he said the other day about the Palestinians being an invented people, if you will. And I just want our viewers to know I studied Middle East history under Professor Fouad Ajami at Johns Hopkins University. So he's a real authority on this subject. I'll play the clip of how Newt Gingrich defended his controversial comments. I'm anxious for you to weigh in, Fouad.
Sure.
I think that we've had an invented Palestinian people who are in fact Arabs and were historically part of the Arab community. and they had a chance to go many places. And for a variety of political reasons, we have sustained this war against Israel now since the 1940s. And I think it's tragic.
And he doubled down at the debate Saturday night on this, not moving away at all. What do you think when you heard that?
Well, you know, Wolf, I think you know Israel, and I know Israel, and I think Israelis themselves reject the Newt Gingrich argument. They don't want that kind of gift. And the argument that made by Newt Gingrich that the Palestinians are invented people, Newt Gingrich prides himself on being a historian. I've got some news for him. There are a whole series of books called The Invention of France, The Invention of Argentina. All nation states in the world are invented. In fact, there's a whole tradition of studying history that way, how states are put together and how their identity is really invented in the political world. Anyway, we know that Newt Gingrich is a good debater. I think presidency is about temperament. It's about being careful. It's about avoiding saying things that are volatile and that are offensive. And I think this was not a very good moment for him either.
Jami, as usual, thanks very much.